r/AskReddit by Planet Reddit. What is the biggest act of passive aggressiveness you've ever witnessed or done? Me. I can do this for you, but you're behind on your invoices. You really need to get caught up. Client. How much do we owe you? Me. Including this last job. It's amount. Client. Okay. I am confident we can get that to you by the end of next week. Me. Hello. Just following up to see where we are on that payment. Client. Client. Hey. Our site is down. Can you get it back up for us? Me. I am confident I can get it back up by the end of next week. You let him get away without payment for months? Damn, you're generous. That's how you can hold them hostage like so. Long time ago. In my first managerial position. I had a boss who got pissed off at me for somewhat ridiculous reasons. I was trying to plan out a potential project with one of my staff members and my boss overheard us. He assumed we were going to skip other work to get this request done. When, in fact, avoiding that was exactly why I was having the meeting. At any rate, he came in and absolutely dressed me down in front of my project guy. After shift change, I went to his office and he told me he didn't want me to make any decisions without running them past him first. So, for the next week, literally every decision I made I paid him first. Like, can Tom take his break half an hour early? Or could Sally have extra supplies? 1 week later he blew up at my co-supervisor at a staff meeting saying, seriously, you all need to be able to make some decisions yourselves. So, my passive-aggressive response worked just fine. Malicious compliance is so satisfying. r/malicious compliance is also a thing. Enjoy your PA boner. I live in a house with thin walls and squeaky floors. My housemate, whose room is across from mine, has always been active at night. That's when he practices his singing, makes phone calls, and stomps around the house, slamming the doors behind him. It was a little annoying but harmless. Until I started my surgery clerkship last month. This meant waking at 4 in the morning every Monday through Saturday. A few days before I was to begin, I spoke with my housemate and gave him a heads up, asking very politely if he could keep it down after 9 PM. In return, I would be as quiet as possible in the morning and move my morning routine, shower, lunch prep, to the evening. He agreed, but didn't actually change anything. 3 days into my first week of surgery, after one too many instances of our bathroom's door being slammed too hard late at night, I decided to move my shower to 3:30 AM and parked directly outside of his bedroom window. The car is old and the engine loud. It took just over a week of being woken at 3:30, but he's now quiet by 8. Some people don't notice how loud they are until the other person stops being quiet. Which is weird because I notice how loud I am when everyone else is quiet. It's like taking the pot off of the coffee maker is the same as a bunch of pots crashing to the floor. For a programming class, me and some friends created a tic-tac-toe bot that always ended games in a draw. It wasn't designed to win, only to end games in a draw. The real game would be trying to lose. Would you like to play a game, David? The best way to be passive-aggressive to a trophy store is to order a worst trophy shop trophy and then never pick it up. I like John Steinbeck's idea of getting revenge on a bank by depositing a fresh salmon in your safe deposit box and going away on vacation. I used to write Wells Fargo is the devil on every single Google review to all of the Wells Fargo branches in my area. I just want to get it into people's head that Wells Fargo is the devil. It was at work. I bake stuff and bring it in for my co-workers pretty frequently. One of our administrators brought in some brownies on a day that I had brought in cookies. She took that personally and actually removed my cookies from the common area and hid them in her office so that only her brownies were available. So I went to her office, reclaimed my Tupperware, and told her I'd keep the cookies in my office till her brownies were gone. On the way out of her office, the systems guys came by like, dude, where'd the cookies go? We thought they were out. Can we have some? Of course. I said yes, and passed out cookies while half standing in our administrator's office while she stared daggers at me. This is the weirdest office rivalry ever. I wouldn't even call it a rivalry. It was definitely weird. Though. A 50-year-old woman hiding Tupperware because she was insecure about her brownies? Duolingo sent a notification to my phone once saying something like, "It seems like our notification isn't doing anything, so we'll stop sending them." Duolingo pissed me off so much last year with its untimely notifications that I dropped German. This is a little specific, but a chef I used to work with was really annoyed at the other chef that worked on his section. It was a quiet Sunday night, so he did every bit of prep possible for the section. The other guy comes in Monday morning and spends 12 hours there bored shitless because he had nothing to do and company rules ban phones in the kitchen. This is so subtle and impossible to rightfully revenge. How would you even properly complain about that? The douche bag is doing so much work. I don't have to do anything. It's the worst. I used to do laundry at a funky mat in the UK. For some reason, they put a 15-inch shelf below the doors of the dryers for people to put their baskets on as they emptied the dryer. On a very busy day, one jackass decided to fold his clothes individually in this shelf, instead of moving everything to a table and freeing up the dryer. To make things worse, he was minutely examining every item he pulled out of the dryer. A woman very nicely asked him if he wouldn't mind moving to a table so she could use the dryer. This elicited an astonishing display of profanity and rudeness that had me wondering if this guy had Tourette's or something. The lady realized she was dealing with an a-hole and backed off. Rather disappointingly. I thought. She found another dryer and sat down again. A few minutes later, jackass finishes his folding. And still blocking the dryer with all the folded shit, goes to get a rolling cart to take his stuff to the car. Lady sees her chance and grabs it. Opens the dryer door, throws in all his carefully folded stuff and feeds the coin slot. The guy went ballistic when he came back, but somehow, no one in the entire place had seen what happened. I love the image of a bunch of laundry room customers of all ages and races uniting together in silence to complicity duck over this douche bag and not tell him what happened. Here's a great true story of an Irish pub where a guy got murdered in the bar. And all 60+ patrons claimed they had been in the lavatory at the time, leading to the 4x3 feet restroom being dubbed the TARDIS by investigating police. A couple of years ago, 2012 or something, I was in high school attending a computer science class. The exercises were so outdated that they stated that we had to hand it in on a floppy disk. So I did. Where does one even find a floppy disk these days? I just found a box of them in my parents' computer cabinet. 2 millibars each. Edit. Regarding the size, I just read the box. I'm not hip like you tech savvy yuns. All I know is that we used to have a full case of them and one had a Mickey Mouse game on it that I miss a lot. Edit 2. Here's the box. When I was still married, my ex's parents' Christmas gift to us one year was that they offered to pay for me to have a vasectomy. We hadn't discussed anything, even broaching that subject with them. Guess they really wanted to finish tying the knot. Subtle. The post on here that asks people who walk up escalators, what do you do with all your extra time? Passive aggressiveness escalates. The top comment about catching flights on time is pretty accurate though. Anyone that regularly uses Leeds train station can attest to this. Personally, I asked my girlfriend at the time if she would mind if I hung out with my ex and some friends after school. A simple no would have sufficed. Instead she responded with, I don't mind. I guess I'll hang out with my friend Eric. We usually get drunk and make out. How is that passive? Too perfect lol. My high school chemistry teacher hated my friends and me. We started it all by being high school idiots. But we were going to finish it as well. My friend would often crumple up his lab sheet and then flatten it out before handing it in. After doing this a couple of times, she said he would get a 0 the next time he did it. So after we finished our next lab, he asked to go to the bathroom. He takes his sheet to the library, crumples it up, flattens it out and then photocopies it. Comes back and turns in the crumpled looking piece of paper. Truly inspired. This made me laugh out loud. The best one here. Had a former co-worker that when writing his child support payment check to his ex-wife, He would address the envelope as names changed. Heather Johnson Williams Smith Butler. Edit. The marriage didn't end well as he caught her cheating. Then she cheated on the next one. And the next one. This story is old. I have copied it from a Tales from Retail post. Enjoy. I work in men's clothing sales. We also offer tailoring services. This gentleman comes in with a pair of pants. Man. Your other location said that you would hem these for me. Double quote. Me. Sure thing. Sir. Why don't you go and put them on so we can mark the hem? He comes out of the fitting room and I begin to mark the pants. He won't stop moving around. And keeps looking down. Which will make them hem come up short. I ask him to just look forward. Man. You don't know what you're doing. How long have you done this? I think you should go get a man to do a man's job. I am taken aback. But, being a girl in menswear, this actually happens frequently. I get my male coworker. Pants are marked without any further issue. And they get sent to the back for a rush job. Fast forward 20 minutes. The man comes back. Our tailor has finished the pants. The man tries them on again. Seems satisfied and goes back into the change room. I am very busy. With 3 customers. And I thought that my co-worker would follow up and get a bag for him and so on. Me. Oh. Would you like a bag for those? Man. Oh. I have never heard that word pronounced that way before. Me. Excuse me? Man. You said. Do you want a bag for those? You clearly meant to say. Would you like a bag for your pants? But you pronounced pants as those. I have just never heard it pronounced that way before. The proper way to ask me that question is, would you like a bag for your pants? Sir. Me. Excuse me. By that time, one of my other customers had come over to investigate. And the man wouldn't repeat what he had said. His passive aggressiveness just floored me. I got him a bag. Handed him his pants. And he said I haven't paid yet. If you opened your eyes and paid attention, maybe you would have noticed that. Customers prepay for alterations 99.9% of the time. Me. Don't worry about the $7. He then went and tracked down my co-worker to specifically pay him. And not me. Wow, what an absolute piece of shit human being. Lol, I don't even get mad at the C kids of people. I just realize that this is the king of thing they do to feel good about themselves. Then. I just feel bad for them. Edit. Mayo yes. These kinds. Damn autocorrect. I wasn't 20 minutes out of bed when writing this and barely 2 sips into my coffee. When I did sushi samples I wouldn't tell the customer to have a great day if they were rude. Just a good one. Savage. Oh man. This is literally my only way of seeking revenge on my crappy customers. This'll being extra obviously over the top polite. I was working during the morning at the counter and we just opened the shop. Not even around 20 minutes has passed and this older lady comes up to the counter with her granddaughter and shows me her old battery in her hand with a pissed off look in her face like I peed in her cereal. I stare at her for a couple of seconds. And she sighs. Pauses. And then says, batteries. I stare at her and with the politest tone I could muster I tell her they're just in front of the counter around 2 steps away. And she starts looking at USB sticks. I say in the most polite and pleasant voice with as much bubbliness as I could muster. Oh no. Not there. Just to the left. And she spots them. I tell her she's got it. And continue my business. She grabs the battery she needs but then pauses and dramatically says, you know what? I'm not going to buy these. I'll go to another store that will have decent customer service who will help me. And storms out while her grandchild is staring at her like a confused Bambi. I said, okay. Goodbye. As soon as she said that and she stormed out with her very confused granddaughter. There are harsher demons to care about in retail beyond a passive aggressive woman who expected me to mind read and didn't politely ask for help. Besides it was 20 minutes after we opened. I wasn't awake enough to care. Edit. Sorry my friends. I didn't realize that I missed writing this. But it was her old battery she was just handing to me. Not from the store. And she gave me no conversation. Just stared into my soul. It was very strange. Edit 2. Row. Guys. I didn't realize I had so many upvotes. That's insane. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the love. I was running register at a cafe that sells Starbucks. This girl came up and I asked, how can I help you? She just stared. Would you like anything to drink? Ugh. Yeah. Getting her order was like pulling teeth and she almost refused to give her name for me to write on the cup. It was insane. I used to work at a fast casual restaurant. The kind where you order at the front and we call out your name and bring you the order. So I'm completing an order for some snooty high school girl and I ask, can I get a name for this order? No. I need a name to find you when the food comes out. Just remember me. I should note that I wasn't the one taking the orders out and that we had like 50 other orders. Her friend chimes in, God Karen, why do you have to be difficult? I say okay. Order for Karen coming up. She sulked off with murder in her eyes. What's the big freaking deal about giving your name? Karen? Another time. I asked a fat 12-year-old for a name to go with his order and he yelled daddy. In his high alto balls not yet dropped voice. In my firmest voice. No. His ego deflated instantly and his friends laughed really hard at him. Me and my housemates during college were eating dinner. Guy had left some dirty dishes on the kitchen counter and forgot about them. Guy B cleaned it up and told Guy A that he has to clean up after himself. Guy A asked what he'd done wrong and Guy B said something along the lines of, if you don't know, I won't tell you. That went on for some time. The rest of us were amazed at how petty Guy B was. It sounded like a marital spat. I had no idea my mother went under the alias of Guy B. No alias. She just goes under Guy B. My wife and I have been planning on going on a weekend-long couples retreat for 3 months. We lined up the babysitters, her parents and mine. Set aside the necessary funds and waited in anticipation. The weekend finally comes. We drop the kids off at my folks' place because they are watching them for night 1. They can't watch the kids for the second night because of a play my younger sister was involved in. There was also a storm happening at the same location our retreat was planned. My mother-in-law is a fearmonger and told us not to go because she feared for our safety. The place we were headed gets storms frequently, and occasionally there is a tree that falls over, but that is about it. Anyways, she really doesn't want us to go. But my wife and I need a break from the kids, so we say we're going anyways. She then calls my wife and spends a half hour on the phone crying to her, literally crying, about not going for fear of her child dying and leaving her grandchildren orphaned. Sunday evening when we return, we find out that she had picked up the kids that day at noon. Meaning she had left them at my parents' place the night before, so my mother wasn't able to go watch her daughter perform in the play. We asked her why she backed out, and she said she was too stressed to deal with the children. She bailed on watching her grandkids for a night because we went on a trip that she thought was too dangerous, causing issues with my parents. Edit. Phrasing. If you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. Adam Ferrara. Fine. Then don't get pissed off when this shit happens again. Oh, I see you know my wife. She will ask me to do something. I will ask for clarification. She responds with the silent treatment. Then when I do it, it is inevitably wrong. She gets pissed. Back during my degree, I was doing an essay about typographical trends. My lecturer and I had a disagreement about something to do with another project. Something about a display or something, I don't quite recall. I handed the essay on time but with each word successively in Arial. Helvetica and Gilson. Drove him nuts. Did you do it manually? Must have taken ages. Yes, more or less manually. Might have missed some. Ultimately it worked though. Taken at a quality and I stayed at over the weekend. Passive aggressiveness at the qualityinimga.com link. At least this QI has the decency to warn you. Honestly don't know why anyone would want to steal any of the cheap shit in the room, especially the nasty ass comforter, TF. But at the one where I work, my boss just charges a $100 flat fee if they have a credit card on file. Regardless of what they took. You pay the same price for accidentally packing up the TV remote as you would for taking the microwave, coffee maker, etc. Girl I knew had a summer job in college waiting tables and had 2 guys finish their meal and did the old shoe and screw, or dine and dash if you prefer. She was lamenting it at the service station of the bar and the bartender realized that the same 2 guys had had a round or 2 at the bar before they were sat at her table and had paid with a card. She entered the numbers manually to pay the bill but asked the manager what she should put for a tip. He told her to put it down for $100 saying, "What are they going to do? Contest it?" When I was in high school we had an oil painting unit in our art class. Oil paint is expensive so we were given really small tubes and told to use only as much as we needed. Well, we were painting a lot of fall type plants. Things like squash, goods, etc. Needless to say, there was a lot of yellow in these compositions and most people used up their yellow tubes right away. There was this upperclassman girl in my class that was a total stuck-up snob and took every chance she could to throw me under the bus for some reason. I think she thought I was a threat to her because we were both very artistically inclined. Although the extent of her abilities was just copying paintings that she found online. Anyways, we all kept our paints in show boxes and one day I went to class to find that my nearly full tube of yellow paint was gone. I look over. And sure enough, the upperclassman snob has it. I was pissed. But I didn't want to make a scene. So I went up to her and asked, "Hey, can I borrow some of your yellow?" She looks at me, gives me the snobbiest, most disgusting look I had ever seen in my life and says only a little bit. That was the last straw. I took the tube and squeezed out the entire thing onto my palette. It was oil paint so I was able to keep it wet until I was done with it. At the mall, sitting in a chair waiting for someone, a woman with cane walks up to the seating area and says to herself, "All the seats are taken. I'll just have to hope I don't fall down." Someone then offers her a seat. And 2 minutes later she says something about it being long enough. And gets up and walks off again. Playing martyr was apparently more important than sitting down. Maybe she needed to sit down for a couple minutes to rest. Sometimes joints are annoying and just need a chance to reset muscles to rest before you can continue on. Or she was just that much of a beach. Either is possible. I thought of that. And have been there myself. But she didn't ask. She also walked past some other unoccupied benches about 20 meters away to the seating area where you could see that the chairs were occupied before making her statement, living with a teenager who eats all the eggs. Then complains we didn't buy something we had no idea we were out of. Has withered any sympathy I had for poor me statements. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for 3 videos a day.